she has before had the behavior where she'll have a friend come over and be playing with them for a little bit, and then she'll just decide that she's kind of done with that person, and she'll go off and do something else, and then the other person is just left, kind of walking around our house wondering what's happened.
Welcome back, you guys. It is Z and
Charles.
my husband, and we are doing our Sunday routine, if you don't know, which is heading to Costco with our little man, our 15-month-old, in the back. If you are new to this channel, I am a family medicine physician. Charles is an actuary. We are a blended family. I have two beautiful kiddos, aka I guess you call it bonus babies, 8-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter, who are not with us on this trip. But today we thought it'd be interesting to talk about what, Charles? I'll let Charles lead this one.
Yeah. Well, this came up this morning. So I guess I'm going to put everything under the title of behavioral issues. We want to talk about some things that we've noticed with our kids and some things that we're doing to deal with it, and get some comments. This is where we really want your feedback regarding things that you've seen in your kids and maybe what you've done about it. So our our son and daughter, we've noticed some emotional behavioral changes. I would say so. Like Z mentioned, they're 8 and 7. They just turned 8 and 7. Um, we probably let them do video games a little bit too much. So they have tablets, and on their tablets they have Minecraft and they have Roblox, and they love that. They play together all the time, and they also watch YouTube. And most of the YouTube that they watch is gaming. Other folks playing games, doing scenarios in the game, stuff like that. That's their favorite thing. That's their world. They just went to a STEM camp where it was about Minecraft and Roblox and stuff like that. So that's like their world right now. But what we've noticed is some negative behavioral traits popping up, and we don't know if this is causation from gaming or from YouTube or what, but we do know where we've seen what we think are negative influences. So, like, I'll just give an example of the behavior. Yesterday, we had some friends over. Teacher from the school where our kids are doing summer camp. Her and her two daughters came over to do some swimming, and we also had a friend from a neighborhood over who goes to school with our kids, and so everybody came over. They're swimming, having a good time, and our daughter all of a sudden stops playing with the girls who've come over, and goes off and starts playing with the boys, and then she just kind of goes off and starts doing her own thing, just ignoring the guests who've come over. And we talked to her. This isn't good. We got your friends over here, and so they came back together as a group and start doing some arts and crafts and things like that. Then decide they're going to watch a movie, and so they're watching a movie all together. Our daughter, our son, the teacher from their
Yeah.
school, and their two kids. Everybody's watching the Minecraft movie, having a nice time. They're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And,
And then I come out, I'm washing some dishes, just helping clean up, and I see the movie's off, right? And so, I reach out to her daughter, like, hey, they're all sitting there. I'm like, something wrong? Was there a technical issue with the TV? And she's like, no, I just didn't want to watch it anymore. I'm like, well, do your friends want to watch it? And now the mom is there and her two daughters. And so the mom is asking her daughters, like, do you guys still want to watch it? And they're like, yeah, we still want to watch it. And I'm like, no, you got to put back on the movie, right? These are your guests. Now you need to ask them. You just don't change a channel, and you know what I mean? Like, you need to have manners and you don't always get to watch what you want to. You are hosting these individuals. But that really offended me that she thought that was okay with the mom there, the kid. I'm just gonna, and they were watching this movie for a good at least 30 minutes into it, and all of a sudden you're changing the channel. That's not appropriate, right?
And that's not the first time that she's done something like that. She has before had the behavior where she'll have a friend come over and be playing with them for a little bit, and then she'll just decide that she's kind of done with that person, and she'll go off and do something else, and then the other person is just left, kind of walking around our house wondering what's happened.
Yeah, and maybe that's on us, right? And I think that's where we started having this discussion about nipping it in the bud, right? That you can't just discard people, right? You're excited, you talk about having these individuals coming over, but you have to understand it's not all about you. I think she's at a phase where she's, so to speak, self-centered.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, she's super smart, super sweet. It's just she needs a little, I think, to be redirected and realize it's not all about her, right? I think at this age for kiddos, they do tend to have a little bit of a selfish, you know, kind of trend, but you have to just kind of direct them, right? And so I feel more and more that selfishness is coming out. And so I think we really just were having the discussion, how do we redirect that, right? Because not all on her. We as her parents need to initiate, methods or strategies to center her, so to speak.
And now our son, on the other hand, he is better socially. He's better considerate of. He's more considerate of other people. So when we have people over, he focuses entirely on them. He's actually very, I would say, gifted socially, because if we go to a park or something like that, he'll immediately make friends with the other kids there. He'll figure out some kind of an activity for them
Yeah.
all to do, and he'll also like figure out a way for each person to have a role in the activity, and get people involved. So he has amazing, leadership and social skills. But with him, what we notice is he's become very dependent, on YouTube and on his tablet, to where, like, when he gets up in the morning, we don't let them have these things all the time. When he gets up in the morning, the first thing he asks is, "Hey, when do I get to do my tablet today?" Or, "Hey, can we watch YouTube before breakfast?" or something like that. And so, we don't see it so much negatively impacting his behavior in other areas, just specifically with regard to like how dependent he is on those things. So this morning it kind of culminated in an incident. I don't know, baby guy might be waking up back here, so we might be cutting this off in a second. But this morning it culminated in an incident where, our daughter, she woke us up. She woke me up at 4:30. She came and knocked on our door at 4:30 in the morning, and she said that she couldn't sleep. Now, this is probably because last night at dinner she didn't like what we were having for dinner, and so she didn't eat really enough to fill herself up. And we told her, hey, listen, if you don't fill yourself up, then your tummy's going to hurt and you're not going to be able to sleep. And so, of course, that's what happened. And she's banging on our door at 4:30 in the morning. I can't sleep. And my response to that is, well, too bad. You're not allowed to come out of your room until 7 in the morning. So go back to your room. This week I've had a project that I've been trying to finish, so I've been waking up at 5:30 in the morning and going out into the kitchen and trying to work for like an hour and a half every morning on this project. And so I get up at 5:30, and go out to work on my project, and I look and I see the light is on in her room, and I hear her and her brother talking. And so I go and I open the door. "What are you guys doing?" And they look at me like, the deer in headlights, like, ah. So I assumed that, like, after our daughter had left our room, that she'd gone and woken up her brother, and they'd started playing in her room. And so I separated them, and told them, no, you can't, you have to be in your own rooms until at least 6:30. And then, so at 6:30 they came back together in their rooms, and and I come in and I'm spending a little bit of time with them. I'm kind of talking with them, assessing the situation. And our daughter, she reaches over on my phone, and I have Microsoft Outlook open on my phone, and she reaches over and she just swipes my phone and deletes one of my work emails. And I look to try to recover it, and I can't even tell what email she deleted. So I don't and it just really irritated me. And I asked her, hey, why did you do that? Sorry. No, why did you do that? I'm sorry. That's not a reason. I mean, that's an apology, but it's not a reason for why you did something. And
Right. And you knew when you were doing it that it wasn't appropriate to do, right? So the I'm sorry is not really genuine, just
right.
to put that in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I came to this inflection point this morning at like 6:30 a.m. that we've got to do something different with our kids.
Yeah, he woke me up the bed and he's like, I have coffee and water ready for you. But I could just tell from his demeanor, I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, the kids. And then he, went on to kind of tell me what he just, briefly told you guys about. I'm like, yeah, I would agree. It's been brewing there, but it's coming to a head. And like we said, we think our kids are kind, they're sweet, but they're just little things now in their personality that we think we just need to kind of, like we said, a redirect, right? In the right way. And another point that I noticed, and this has been something, that's been it just irks me. We have a bedtime, right? Or we try to have a bedtime. Initially, it was 9 p.m.
For the kids.
Bedtime for the kids, right? During the week, at least, Monday to Friday. But every time when it comes to bedtime, I need water. I have an itch. And Charles is a sweetheart, and I know he feels, he wants to make sure that the kids don't feel deprived of anything and that they feel heard and things like that. But it will always be, Daddy, I need this. I need that. Did you hear it? And so what should be a 9 p.m. bedtime becomes a 9:30 or a 9:45. There's always something. And at 8 o'clock, when they're watching TV or doing something else, they don't talk about the itch. They don't talk about they need this or they need water. So in my mind, they do this at their bedtime to try to extend it. Because ideally, no kid wants to go to bed. And so I've been very adamant about having more structure, at least in the bedtime. I think we need to work on it in other places. Him and I both need to implement that in other ways. But I just think the bedtime is another example of where we need to nip things in the bud, personality, or what should I say? Not personality wise.
Behavior wise.
Behavior wise, right? I don't want them to kind of manipulate or be manipulative, right? I think kids, if you allow them by nature, as they're learning, as they're evolving, as they're developing, learn how to manipulate, right? If you look at a toddler, early on, they realize they think everything, right? But as kids, become age 4 or 5, they realize that, they can lie. You may not really know the truth, right? And I'm not saying our children are liars by any means. I'm just saying they learn now how sometimes to leave out certain information or add in certain information to distort the truth, so to speak, right?
They try to make you confused so you're not sure if you should punish them or not.
Correct. Or something hurts. And now, you're of course you're going to be concerned about your child. Well, if something hurt, what's going on? So now knowing them and seeing these trends, Charles and I both spoke about, and you actually had on your little phone certain things.
I made a list. That's how angry I was. I sat there and I made a list of all the things that we need to do to fix their behavior.
Yeah, I was like, we should definitely do something about it. So I said to him this morning when he woke me up, he's like, I have a list. I was like, oh, of 10 things. I was like, okay, let's go through the list. Do you want to talk about some things that you have on the list?
Yeah, absolutely. So these aren't things that I think are like, this is the cause and this is going to fix the behavior. But I sat down and I thought, what are some things that I see that are inputs in their lives which could be lending themselves to this behavior? That's really loud. That's why I turned it down.
Sorry, I'm turning the AC up.
The So one of them, unfortunately, is YouTube. Now, obviously, we don't have anything against YouTube. We watch YouTube all the time ourselves, and we create on YouTube. But the YouTube that they do, which is pretty much like watching video game play. These scenarios, they're created by people who are trying to appeal to kids under 12. It's not good examples of behavior. People do things on impulse. Like, oh, we're going to drop all these things from the top of a building, and we're going to see which one breaks and which one's the loudest. And we're going to have a contest where we're trying to remove paint from an iPad or something. It's like they aren't realistic scenarios, and they teach. I feel like they're causing the kids to develop poor emotional control.
Yeah, because they can be entertaining, but the kids are at an age where they don't know how to, in their mind, how do I describe it? They don't know how to.
They're learning proper behavior.
Yes, right. They don't understand what not to apply into their day-to-day life, right? They
Right.
don't realize certain things just stays on the TV just for entertainment value, and it's not behavior that they should incorporate in their day-to-day life, right? Screaming, it's not appropriate, right? When you're at the dinner table, right? Yes, you saw it on the YouTube and they're like, shut up, or this or that. It's entertainment wise, but they are at such an impressionable age. Like, oh, this is what people do, and we're going to carry this into our day to day. And so it's on us, right? Kiddos will follow your lead as parents. So this is not us saying, our kids are like this and that and doing this. We just got the wake up call that
Yeah.
we need to make some steps as parents, right?
And sometimes I feel guilty because I feel like Z works full time, I work full time. We outsource childcare to 20-year-olds who live with us, and so a lot of time I feel like if I was more hands on, I would notice these things, and I would be able to remove these things on a more regular basis. I'm not monitoring the children's inputs very well, and so I feel guilty about that.
I disagree, right? I feel like there's a lot of things that we've seen even with working full time. And, I'll admit sometimes it's just easy, right? To have your kid watch TV for additional 30 minutes while you're, sitting for a second, just having a moment to yourself, or while you're doing dishes, right? It can be the easier route. And I think it's true for a lot of parents, right?
Yeah.
I'll admit that. So I don't think we can all put it on because we have, live-in assistants, right? A lot of it falls on us to set the structure. Because I felt like, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. We've noticed a lot of these things. Sorry, Charles is trying to help our little one in the back. Is this one?
Look who we've been
Say hi,
hiding.
Reggie.
Say hi. He's like, why am I waving to the window?
He's like, I'm in the front seat.
See, we don't have to worry about this stuff for you for a couple of years, do we? But yeah, here's some things that we're doing, rightly or wrongly, to try to fix our older kids' behavior. We've eliminated YouTube. Now, again, like I said, we don't have anything against YouTube, but the YouTube that's created to appeal to people their age, or at least the stuff that they've been watching, which I think it's impossible to get them away from because you can't filter it very well. I think that it's causing them emotional problems. Also, we've reduced their tablets. So they're no longer doing their tablets at our house.
Tablet time.
Which tablet is analogous for Minecraft and Roblox. That's something they're just going to do when they visit their grandfather, my dad. Which that's where they are right now. So basically, it's not taking it completely away, but it's just reducing the amount of time that they're going to be on it. And Also, we're going to try to get them some more age appropriate reading content because they're both excellent readers. And but they claim that they've read all their books and stuff like that. So today we're actually going to the library. We're going to make it a habit to do the library on Sunday afternoons
Once a week.
once a
Yes.
week to take them so that they can choose their books for the week, and they'll have something to do when they're in their rooms during the week. So, oh no.
But yeah, but if you guys have any comments, any suggestions, any advice, we just kind of wanted to maybe vent a little bit, just a little bit of our experience with raising kids. I'm sure a lot of parents out there have had similar experiences. But yes, this little one's getting unhappy, so we are going to chat to you guys in a bit.